Hello, welcome to my month 32, February 2026 vlog for my TBR Zero project. If you're new here, welcome. You have arrived very much in the middle of it, but still I think fairly early on. As I have still got over 700 books to read / DNF, otherwise clear off of my TBR before we're done. So if you are new, you might want to check out some of my other videos, because without any further ado, I'm going to start talking about the books that I've read so far this month. So it is the 10th of the month already. I have put off actually filming this first update for ages because it's just been so dark. The light has not been good at all, but I looked ahead and it's going to be like pretty much solidly raining for the rest of the week. And I thought, well, I'm just going to have to get on with it. Everybody's just going to have to endure the bad lighting. Nobody cares as much as I do when I'm editing it, you know, when I look at myself and I just think, oh, this would look so much better in sunlight. But hey, that's what we're working with. These are the conditions we labour under. There we go. It's February. You can't really expect any better. If it was the summer, I'd just wait a couple more days and it would be, you know, bright. But it is not. It is February. So there we go. Anyway, the first book that I finished in February was The Furies. I enjoyed this a lot. It is a sort of dark academia, kind of magic, kind of, is it just like psychological distress type book. It's very dark, there's a lot going on, and I would recommend it to anyone who is into that kind of genre. It really goes into that sort of dark side of female friendship, and I enjoyed that a lot. Then a completely different type of book, I finished reading Make My Wish Come True, which is a YA romance. It's about a girl who is a kind of teen movie star who's wanting to be taken a bit more seriously. She's known as a bit of a party girl. That's the reputation that she kind of deliberately set out to create. Originally it was all fake and pretend, and then it became real, but now she wants to get this more serious movie part, and to do that her agent decides that she will go to her small town and kind of reveal her long-term girlfriend to the world. Of course, she doesn't actually have a long-term girlfriend. The girl that her agent is aiming for her to pretend woo is her former best friend, who has been living her kind of quiet, normal life, resenting her movie star former best friend for completely failing to stay in contact with her since she left a few years back. It was very, very cute. I loved the small town setting. I loved how it dealt with fame. It reminded me of Wish You Were Her by Elle McNichol, but with characters who are a little bit younger. And yeah, I really find like discussions of what like fame and kind of being in the media all the time and the weight of scrutiny does to a person. So this was probably a book I was always going to enjoy, but enjoy it I did, and I would recommend. It's also nice to read a YA book, as I haven't read one in a little while. Then I finished reading The Everyday Dancer by Deborah. This is a book that basically goes through the day of a dancer's life whilst also kind of being a memoir. So essentially the way it's told is it literally starts at the top of the day and goes all the way through to the end after the final performance, going home. You know, it starts with class and ends with the end of the performance really, and taking off makeup and going home. But it also tells you about like the different stages in a dancer's career and what different dancers would be doing at the time or in that particular part of preparation or production. It also has kind of reflections from the author's career, but it's not sort of like a strict like full-on memoir autobiography. Is very much kind of focused on, you know, this is what a dancer does at this time, you know, this is what this stage of their career is like, etc, etc. This is what like training and ballet school's like, and then this is what like being a professional is like, and this is what being a soloist is like, and this is what being a principal is like, and this is what being in the corps de ballet is like. It was really interesting. I think I really enjoyed this when I was younger and like quite into like ballet books. But I enjoyed it now as well, so yeah, would recommend. And then finally I read Young Hag. This is a graphic novel. I love the art in this so much. It's just fantastic. I love the sort of limited colour palette. and how it like changes from page to page. It just really adds like such a great sense of like mood to the story. It's essentially a King Arthur Merlin retelling, but from the perspective of Morgan Le Fay's granddaughter, who is tasked many years later with bringing magic back to Britain. It's just such a lovely, fun story. I love the expressions on the characters. Like, the faces are just so good. I'll try to find a particularly good one. Yeah, there's some great ones on this page. Yeah, just brilliant. I love the old crone. I love the old crone's facial expressions. They're just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, fantastic reading month so far. At the moment, I am, as always, in the middle of Happy City, although I am actually, I believe, more than halfway through it now. I did pick it up the other day and read a few more pages and then just kind of quote bits of it to like everybody I saw after that. I just think this is such a good book. It's just brilliant. If you're interested at all in cities and design and living better, please do pick it up. You won't be disappointed. And I've also started Side Effects May Vary by Julie Murphy, who is the author of Dumpling. I am not very far into this at all. I'm like on page 18. There we go. I'm on page 18. But yeah, I felt that I really wanted to read another YA book after having read Make My Wish Come True. I did try another one and then DNF'd it. So I have already racked up a DNF this month, which I'm quite pleased about. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to keep on with this one and enjoy it. I am also partway through the audiobook of Black Light Express by Reeve. This is the second in the trilogy that began with Railhead. I am enjoying this so much. I just love the whole space trains idea. I just really love the space trains. What can I say? It's just brilliant. It's the trains have minds as well, like they're artificial intelligences, and it's just fantastic. I love how they all kind of got their own personality. There's one train in this in particular that we've just been introduced to who has such a fun personality. Yeah, enjoying this so much. It's just fantastic escapism. So there we go, that's where I'm at the moment. I am hoping to do a lot more reading this month, tackle a whole bunch more TBR books. I managed to find some more at the library, would you believe it? I suddenly remembered the existence of BorrowBox. My libraries subscribe between them. I have access to both Libby and BorrowBox, and I had completely forgotten about the fact that I hadn't checked BorrowBox, and it wasn't really an easy way to do it because for some reason, like on my I use the Chrome extension, library extension, which lets you, like, you can look on a page of Goodreads or Amazon or like any shop, and it will show you like what libraries that might have your books. Like if you have to add your libraries to them, for some reason one of my libraries wasn't showing up audiobooks on BorrowBox, but then I found a workaround. So now I can see where they have an audiobook on BorrowBox or on Libby, whereas before it just showed me Libby. So this is brilliant because it meant I could find a whole bunch more books to request from the library, and I'm really happy about that because it means I will get these books off my TBR faster. So there we go. Eventually I will get to the end of all the ones I can get as audiobooks and I have to go back to just reading them in print. But not today, not today. It's fine. I've still got some time left. So there we go. That's my first update for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I will hopefully update you in a couple of days once I've made some more progress on these books. Hello, it is February the 24th. I had intended to update sooner, but I felt like I wasn't reading very much. And then I looked at my pile of read books today and I was like, wait, I don't think I've updated on 3 of those. And I also have a whole bunch of new books on my currently reading, so I thought it's about time I come on here. Plus, I just got my hair cut earlier today and blow dried. The effect of the blow dry has been somewhat muted because I put a hat on to go outside. But you know, I still feel like the ends look pretty good, so I figured why not just film my update and show off my hair. Anyway, so since my first update, I finished Black Light Express, really enjoyed that. Already borrowed the 3rd in the trilogy, so I have that waiting for me to listen to. I then finished The Fraud by Zadie Smith. I don't think I talked about it in my previous update, so I will explain a little bit about it now. So it's basically about mostly this woman called Mrs. Touche, who is the housekeeper of this at times famous, his fortunes kind of waver at different points in their timeline, author, who is also her cousin by marriage, and she's also had some sort of past kind of romantic slash sexual entanglement with. The book jumps around in time and there's various other literary characters involved. It is sort of inspired by reality, so Charles Dickens is. There is also this trial of this man who is claiming to be a member of the aristocracy who's been missing. He is kind of pretty clearly depicted as a fraud to us, the reader, but a lot of people are convinced, or at least have decided to go along with this story, that he was lost for years, lived this whole other life, and looks quite different and sounds quite different to the original Lord. And it's also bound up with the history of slavery. The main person vouching for this guy is a former slave. It's a literary fiction novel, right? So there's not like a kind of like strongly defined plot throughout the book, but the way it jumps around and also the way that it explores the title. You know, the title is The Fraud, and there's a lot of characters in this who come off as being in some way fraudulent. You know, they're pretending to themselves, they're pretending to other people. The cousin author is often described as not being a very good writer. I think Mrs. Touche only likes one of his books. The rest she sort of suffers through, but because he is their breadwinner, everybody sort of dances around this and tries not to upset him. And of course there's Mrs. Touche herself, who is living a life full of pretense and failing to face up to a reality that she is not proud of until the very end of the book. So yeah, I think also it was an extremely interesting read. This is the first Zadie Smith book that I have read, and I think I will be checking out some more of hers. She's a very well established British writer and has received a lot of acclaim over the years. And so yeah, it's kind of strange to me that it's taken me this long to pick this one up, but it was a gift from someone in my book club. We did a kind of book swap at Christmas where we each brought a book that we had read from our shelves and enjoyed but didn't want to keep. So yeah, I was really pleased to get this and read it so quickly, because this is essentially a Christmas present that I've already read. Well done me. Then I read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is a book about a boy whose mum has cancer, and he is visited by this kind of tree monster who exists in the garden of his house, and it's an incredible emotional read. I actually saw the film of this many years ago and found it to be completely devastating, so I had to really steel myself. I'd been putting off reading this for a long time because I knew that it would affect me, and yes, I did cry at the end. It is such a good book. I'd highly recommend it. And also thanks to Walker Books for giving me this free copy. Yeah, I did not in fact buy this to be part of the Zoella Book Club. I was given it by the publisher, so there we go. Next up, I read We Could Be So Good by Sebastian for the Culture Study Romance Book Club. Culture Study is a newsletter slash podcast I think I first discovered on Substack. It has since moved over to Patreon, and it's so good. Like, apart from the actual content of the newsletter, and I just upgraded to the newsletter and podcast because they did a podcast episode with Sebastian that I want to listen to, and also I thought I really enjoy the newsletter, so I'm probably going to enjoy the podcast. It basically is like analysis of pop culture in all different forms. So there's a lot of stuff about books and other kind of cultural events, but also it has what many have described, a book has just fallen off my leg, as the best comment section on the internet. And honestly it is. They even have like just sort of a general comment thread for chats. So when the book club started up, I was like, yeah, I might actually join in with this. And there were two books that were suggested to read, and you could either pick one or read both, and it's the same for the next month. I've requested one of the books for the library. Both cases, one of the books was like so recent that it wasn't published in the UK yet, so I could only read the one which was published in the UK. Like, it's literally impossible to get hold of a copy unless I like import it from Amazon.com. I couldn't find an ebook, I couldn't find an audiobook, like, yeah. So yeah, that is a little bit annoying, but I've got those books on my list now and I can catch up with them later, if fingers crossed they are published in the UK. But anyway, We Could Be So Good. I had never read a Sebastian book before, so I was like, you know what, this is a good opportunity to read one and also hear what other people think of it. And this book was so cute. So it's about, it's set in sort of mid-century New York. It's about two men working at a newspaper. So one of them is sort of like a journalist who's kind of working his way up, and the other one is also a journalist, but he's the son of the owner of the newspaper. So they're quite different. So they're from quite different backgrounds, and they basically immediately become really good friends, and then slowly over time start to admit that there is something more going on. It is a really sweet romance. I just found it so compelling. It's definitely one if you like a slow burn, and I have read too many books recently which have not been a slow burn, where it's been like second chance romance, and it was so refreshing to pick up a book where it actually goes into detail on why the characters are falling in love. Second chance romance, I think the problem is for me that it kind of assumes that we can just sort of know why the characters like each other in a way. Like, we can see that they like each other, and there might be a few little details about that, but you don't really get to see them kind of this process of them starting to like each other and the developing of feelings to the same extent. Like, quite often with second chance romance, it's just that they need to admit their feelings. The feelings are kind of already there, whereas I like seeing the feelings kind of build up from nothing. So yeah, it was really nice to get to have a proper kind of slow burn, long time development of romance in this book. Then I read Scenes of a Graphic Nature by Caroline O'Donoghue. This has been on my TBR a couple of years, I think. I definitely picked this up from a free book box because it is destroyed. Like, this copy's spine is so creased, it looks like it's already been read by at least 3 or 4 other people. And it will be read by more because I'm definitely going to pass this on to my sister. I think she'd really enjoy it. So this is about a woman who is a filmmaker. She made this film about her father's childhood and how he was the only survivor of a tragic accident in his home village in Ireland. And this film she made with her best friend, and they have been kind of entering it into film festivals. Her best friend has got a job already in the TV industry, but the main character Charlie is still struggling. She is working various low paid jobs and she is not having a great time. She is incredibly jealous of her best friend Laura, and so this kind of sets up the story as having a lot of tension. When they get when the film gets selected to be in a Irish film festival, they are invited to attend. And while they're there, they hear some things about the incident that is the subject of the film that lead Charlie to want to go to the village and investigate for herself. She has never been there. Her dad has always said he can't go there, and so therefore she just wants to find out what it's like for herself, and she quickly becomes convinced that there is something more going on. What I really enjoyed about this was that it had this mystery, but it was also about the friendship between Charlie and Laura. It was about Charlie's relationship with her parents. It was about her own sort of sense of community and feelings about home and friends and relationships. There was just like a lot of that stuff going on. I feel like it really encapsulated that kind of early 20s stage that can sometimes extend for some of us much longer, of insecurity and not knowing how to find your place in the world, how to keep doing the things you love whilst also making money and sort of feeling like you're progressing in life in other ways. So yeah, I thought it was brilliant. Highly recommend, and I will definitely be checking out more of Caroline O'Donoghue's adult books. I of course have already read her young adult trilogy that begins with All Our Hidden Gifts. So yeah, I kind of already knew that I liked her writing, but I was interested to see what it would be like when she was sort of writing more sort of realism rather than urban fantasy. And the most recent book that I've read was Momentous Events in the Life of a Cactus, which is another sequel. I really enjoyed this one. It's basically more adventures in the life of Avon, who is a girl who was born without arms, and her friends, and her desire to do stunts on the back of a horse, and to play her guitar, and just fun sort of like early teen type things in this one. Romantic feelings start to get involved, and yeah, it's really cute. I don't know if any more books in this series are planned, but they are super cute and I would recommend them. So that's all the books that I've read since my previous update. I am now gonna tell you some things about what I'm currently reading. So I am more than halfway through, getting close to the end, on Rooftoppers by Katherine Rundell. I started this as an audiobook, but I couldn't renew it. I kind of ran out of time listening to it because other people had it on hold. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to finish it in print copy. It's a kid's book. I keep meaning to pick it up and then not picking it up and doing something else instead. I feel like I've sort of been in a mini reading slump actually, but only for like a few days, but in my head these things just sort of spin out of control and become super dramatic. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting over it though, because I'm starting to feel the itch to pick this up and read it. I've also been listening to Playground by Richard Powers. This is the first time I have read a Richard Powers book. I believe his best known book is The Overstory, but hey, I'm starting with this one, which is sort of about the sea. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's got various characters who all have something to do with the sea. I'm quite early on, so I'm finding it difficult to describe what the plot is, but I'm sure I will get there in the end. This is secondhand, this proof, but how beautiful is it? Like, I love this cover. If I enjoy this book, I will definitely be keeping hold of this proof because it's so nice. I am also reading Hidden Talents by Erica James, which is a book about, it's kind of one of those sort of ensemble cast kind of novels where all the characters are joining a writing group together. And I am really, really enjoying it so far. I kind of picked it up thinking, like, I wasn't sure if I was in the mood for it. It might, you know, could be a quick DNF, but I've only read like 4 chapters. They're quite short. I'm on page 22 and I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna keep going. So yeah, enjoying that. So there we go, that's today's update. There are of course only 4 more days left in February. Tomorrow is my birthday, so I might get more books then. In terms of acquisitions, I have actually picked up a lot of books this month, but I'm not sure I'm going to keep them all. I'm going to kind of look through and see if I can decide. I kind of figured that I may as well pick books up when I see them if they're free, and then make a decision about whether to keep them later, because I can always put them back. You know, I can always just have a quick flick through, sort of do a little try a chapter thing and see if they deserve to make it onto my TBR. But yeah, might have picked up quite a few, so better keep reading. And with that, I'm back and I'm wearing my summer glasses early because I lost my winter glasses for a couple of days. Had to put on my summer glasses as a backup, and now I'm kind of feeling it. I'm used to it, so yeah. I am also wearing my Sophie scarf, which I have been knitting partly whilst listening to audiobooks this month. So yeah, very pleased to have finished that in February. So yeah, without any further ado, I'm going to tell you what I thought of the last 2 books I finished, which were, number 1, Rooftoppers, and number 2, Playground. So yeah, very pleased to have got these 2 last TBR books in. So Rooftoppers I really, really enjoyed. I thought it was such a imaginative, fun kids book. I especially loved the whole setup of the story and the relationship between Sophie and her adoptive father Charles, and thought that was just so cute. It did take me a little while longer to finish it than I expected because I fell into a bit of a reading slump, but I decided one evening I was just going to sit down and get through it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Playground I didn't properly describe before because I had only just started reading it. It is a book told from several different perspectives, or is it? About various people who all have a connection of some form to the ocean. I suppose the sort of main character, at least at first, is this kind of tech billionaire who is suffering from a degenerative disease, and he is concerned about losing his memories before he has time to properly record them. So he is sort of telling the story of his life, and in particular his relationship with this one guy who became like a really fundamental part of his early adulthood. They went to university together and had this sort of like semi-antagonistic best friend relationship. At the same time, you're also hearing the story of this island community with various people who live there. It's island in the Pacific, and their kind of current way of life is under threat from some Americans who want to use their island to build kind of offshore communities, basically building boats that people can live off permanently as a way to sort of get around national laws, kind of essentially create their own like libertarian country. And the people of this island are kind of deciding whether they should welcome this because it will bring them money, or whether they should resist because they have been exploited in the past. And that's all very interesting as well. And then there is also the story of this French-Canadian woman who became like a kind of marine celebrity after a sort of like long career of frustration and having to deal with sexism, and yeah, her kind of process of self-discovery, but also finding a way in which she could try and ignite a love of the ocean in other people. So yeah, it all kind of combines in this way, which I cannot talk about at all because it would completely spoil it. But you'll just have to take my word from it that this is a really, really good read. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I listened to the audiobook, and it is a full cast recording, so the different characters have different voices, and it is just fabulous. There's some really, really great narrators who worked on this book, and I loved it. Really, really enjoyed this one. I will definitely be picking up more books by Richard Powers. In fact, I've already picked one up that I came across. It was one of my many acquisitions this month. So yeah, very excited by that. So now on to the tally. So as I have already hinted at, I did acquire a lot of books this month, 8. But how many did I read? So I read 2 library print books, 3 library audiobooks, and 7 TBR books. I also DNF'd 1 book, so that means that I broke even. So to be consistent with December, I think I am going to take this as a win and feel very proud of myself for breaking even in my birthday month. But next month I must do better. I must do better. I must not acquire and acquire and acquire. This month I just sort of was in various situations where acquiring books was easy. I went to more locations with free books. I had a birthday, you know, it just happened that way. But this month, I have got to be better. So yeah, wish me luck in the comments. And, you know, bonus things to tally. I finished knitting 1 scarf, and I also cast on to knit a Sophie hood. This is gonna have like kind of pink ends, and then sort of the main bit of the hood is this purple. This is because I did not have enough yarn to knit the whole hood in one colour. That's just how it's worked out. And I also did not have enough yarn of different colours to do it in stripes. Actually, I think I do, but I wanted to use that yarn for other things. So to be precise, I have more yarn, but I'm saving those for like jumpers and cardigans. I wanted to use up this yarn on this hood, so that's what I'm doing. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I have mentioned in this video, and if you have any recommendations for me to put requests on from the library. And of course, if you are doing your own TBR Zero or other project, please let me know how it is going. I would love to follow along. You'll see me again soon. Bye!